Good morning. Today we're going to be presenting our assignment based on the topic of strategy gaming. We are basically exploring the application of AI techniques into map generation for games, and the game that we're considering for the sake of this presentation is Dune 2. This presentation has been prepared and presented by myself, Suraj K, Vishal Anand, Duhita Wani, and Abhishek Kumar Singh. Duvita, you want to start?
Yes. Dune 2 is a Dune 2 is a real-time strategy Dune video game developed by Westwood Studios. It is one of the earliest examples of real-time strategy games and came to strongly influence this nascent genre. The player takes the role of a commander of one of the three dynasties competing in the production of spice, a substance that can only be gathered on the desert planet Arrakis, also known as Dune. In the Dune universe, spice is required for interstellar travel, making it one of the most valuable substances in the universe. Dune 2 simplifies this relation slightly, treating spice as a resource which can be used to build new units and buildings. The only way to gain spice is sending harvester units to the sand parts of the map where the spice is located. Apart from opposing parties that try to harvest the same fields, the sand parts are also habited by the native animals of the planet, the sandworms. Menace and important resources alike, these non-controllable units are involved in the generation of new spice on the map, but also occasionally swallowing units of the player or his enemies if he uses the sand as a tactical element. The main objective of the player on each map is to harvest spice and use the gathered resources to build new buildings and produce military units to ultimately destroy one or two enemies' bases. As I've mentioned, compared to modern real-time strategy games, this game is not that complex because it has two terrain types, rocky and sandy, one resource which is spice, and only one goal which is eliminating opponent's forces. The two terrain types, rocky and sandy, can both be passed by all units. Two game mechanics involve the terrain types. Buildings can be built on rocky area, while sandworms and spice can exist on sand. Buildings and units are ordered in tiers and can be unlocked as one progresses through the game. This removes the necessity to model additional mechanics. Next slide. Procedure content generation (PCG) for games is a field of growing interest among game developers and academic game researchers alike. It addresses the algorithmic creation of new game content. In this report, we are addressing the problem of generation of maps for a strategy game. Dune 2. A map here means a two-dimensional spatial structure on which objects or features of some kind, for example, trees, tanks, mountains, oil wells, bases, etc., are placed and on which gameplay takes place. While the generation of terrains without particular reference to gameplay properties is a fairly well-studied program, this report addresses the problem of generating maps such that the maps support the game mechanics of a particular game or game genre.
Coming to the current state of the art research that's happening on PCG, one particular approach to procedural content generation, which has gained traction in the recent years, is search-based paradigm, where evolutionary algorithms or other stochastic optimization algorithms are used to search for spaces of game content, for content artifacts that were mentioned before, that satisfy the gameplay criteria. In search-based PCG, two of the main concerns are how this content is represented versus how it is evaluated, that is the fitness function. The key to effective content generation is largely to find a combination of representation and evaluation such that the search mechanism quickly zooms in on the regions of interesting, suitable, and diverse content. One example of the latter is the cave generator by Johnson et al., which generates smooth two-dimensional cave layouts that support the particular design needs of a two-dimensional endless dungeon crawler game. This basic principle of that generator is to randomly sprinkle rock and ground on an open area and then use cellular automata to smelt the rock together in several steps, after which another heuristic ensures that the rooms are connected to each other. Cellular automation is a collection of colored cells on a grid of specified shape that evolves through a number of discrete time steps according to a set of rules based on the states of the neighboring cells. These rules are applied iteratively for as many steps as desired. So on applying cellular automation here, the resulting generator is fast enough for on-the-fly generation and generates natural-looking and adequately functional structures. The CA-based methods, however, lack controllability and could not easily be adapted to generate maps that satisfy other functional constraints. Another example is the search-based map generator for the real-time strategy game StarCraft by Togelius. Recognizing that devising a single good evaluation function for something as complex as a strategy game map is anything but easy, the authors here defined a handful of functions, mostly based on distance and path calculations, and used multi-objective evolutionary algorithms to study the interplay and the partial conflict between the evolution dimensions. While providing an insight into the complex design choices for such maps, it resulted in a computationally expensive map generation process and problems with finding maps that are good enough in all relevant dimensions. The map representation is a combination of direct, that is the position of bases and resources, and indirect, a turtle graphics-like representation for rock formations, with mixed results in terms of evolvability. What we propose and study here is a new search-based method for generating maps that draws heavily on the two very different approaches described above. Like in the StarCraft example, we use an evolutionary algorithm to search for maps and a collection of heuristics derived from the analysis of the game's mechanics to evaluate them.
There, I'm Abhishek Kumar Singh. Let's see how we are modeling our problem and how the map generator is working. The map generator consists of two parts: the genotype to phenotype mapping and the search-based framework that involves maps. So in genotype to phenotype mapping, the genotype are the vectors of real numbers and which serves as an input for a process that converts them into the phenotype, that is the complete map. It can also be seen as a constructive map generator. The genotype to phenotype mapping is a constructive algorithm that takes an input and produces an output matrix O. Based on the tile type of the original donate to the element O can assume the value 0 for sand, 1 for rock, and 2 for spice. The matrix O is then later interpreted by the game engine into the actual game map. Using an open source remake of the game and its tools should make creating the map for the original donate too easy. The structure of the input vector for this mapping is n the size of the Moore neighborhood. The map size refers to the map edge length. Nt the Moore neighborhood threshold. I the number of iteration for the CA. W0 to W99 members the weight matrix W for the initial noise map. S the number of spice bloom to be placed on the map. So how the generator is working? The generator starts with creating the initial map based on the value W. The 10 cross 10 matrix is scaled to the actual map size and used as an overlay to determine the probability of a map tile starting as a rock or sand. For each iteration in a CA is invoked for each map tile to determine its new type. If a number of rock tile in the n Moore neighborhood is greater than or equals to nt, the size is set to the rock in next iteration.
Cadence algorithm, or the maximum sum subarray problem, is the task of finding a contiguous subarray with the largest sum within a one-dimensional array of n numbers. Formally, the task is to find indices I and j between 1 and n such that the sum of all the numbers between the indices is maximum. Some properties of this problem are if the array contains all non-negative numbers, then the problem is trivial. That is, the maximum subarray is the entire array itself. If the array contains all non-positive numbers, then the solution is any subarray of size 1 containing the maximal value of the array. Several different subarrays may have the same maximum sum.
Step is the determination of the start zone, where players' first building will be placed. We always use the largest rock area available as a starting zone. The selection is done by invoking the 2D variant of the Kadane algorithm on O to find the largest submatrix containing ones. To prevent the player from spawning too close to each other, we invoke Kadane algorithm on submatrix of O that only represent I top row of O for one player and only the I bottom row for the other player. We let I run from 8 to 2 until the suitable position for both the map are found. This operation ensures that one player starts in the upper half of the map and one in the lower. It also restricts us to maps that are played vertically, but it could be changed very easily. In this step, we don't assert that the start position are valid in terms of the gameplay. Broken maps are eliminated through the fitness function and the selection mechanism. The last step is the placement of the spice bloom and the filling of their surrounding areas. Since Kadane algorithm finds the submatrix of O, we simply clone O and negate its element with ONM is equals to 1 minus ONM, where ONM is mth member and nth row of O. We use this computed coordinate to fill the corresponding element of O with spice. In order to make fill look bit more organic, we use a simple quadratic falloff function. A tile marked as a spice if its distance d from the center of the spice field, the bloom, fulfills the condition 1 by d square is greater than equals to t, where t is the width of the spice field multiplied by 1.001.
Now, what are the expected results? What do we expect from our algorithm that we put on? So if you plot a graph of average fitness values for each component and the overall fitness, expected output for the increasing rock terrain map will be like this. It will slightly influence the start zone difference as there is less rocky terrain in the map and therefore chances are higher that it is unequally distributed. There should be a steady increase of the distance between the two starting zones, but this shouldn't have an impact on distances to the nearest spice bloom. So, and another plot that if we plot the overall score of the fittest genome of each generation and maximum component value encountered in each generation by tracking components values individually, we might find that the fittest genome from a different individual than fittest genome group. The development of the overall fitness will have a higher impact on the average overall score in the first data generation. There is an exception in the case that is where fitness is set to be 0. Then we will have two cases that we will look after this slide. The average components score will be steady in the same interval. It won't be depending on average component score calculations. So it would be an interesting problem if we set the fitness to be 0, basically elitism threshold to be low. So on rare occasion, each genome in the start population would score as 0. But in the figure, you can see that the genetic algorithm then converge quickly towards two pathological cases, in which one is only sand and another is rock, only rock. The first one only consists of sand and one spice field. The second map consists of rock, while the second one might not be very interesting to play, but it is actually playable. That both players start with the same amount of money and the same time. And the second one, the sand one. Basically, we cannot win in the sand one game. The sand one, because it is impossible to build new buildings here. So finally, coming to the discussion, concluding what we are doing in this presentation. So our fitness was based on heuristic algorithms. We have presented a fast search-based map generator that reliably generates aesthetically interesting maps for Dune 2. By using a cellular automata-based genotype to phenotype mapping, we have avoided problems associated with other map phenotype representations. By using a search-based mechanism with direct evolution functions built on game mechanics, we have retained controllability. We believe that this method, with minor modification, can be used to generate maps for a large variety of gamers. Developers are currently working on modeling of the complete mechanics of the original Dune 2 game, so that both player and AI can play full game. So thank you. This is our presentation.